No, I will answer the question the way I see fit, the way I talk. You are not going to school me as to how to respond, sir. Now, I truly do apologize that your type of relationship with your father has led you to this quest to condone the annihilation of your own people. I truly am sorry for that. But just as you said, it is not about you. Unfortunately, what we're seeing today and how we're seeing it, it is bigger and it is older.
When Piers Morgan brings together Egyptian podcaster Rahma Zein and Hamas founder's son, Mosab Hassan Yousef, sparks don't just fly. They create a full-scale inferno. Buckle up. You're about to experience debate at its most raw, most passionate, and most unfiltered, where every word matters, every pause speaks volumes, and civility becomes a casualty of conviction.
Okay. Rahma Zein, here's my question for you.
Can I say something?
Let me just ask you first of all, what should Israel have done after October the 7th? If not go after Hamas, the people who perpetrated it?
I just need to respond. Mr. Hassan, I truly do apologize that your type of relationship with your father has led you to this quest to condone the annihilation of your own people. I truly am sorry for that. But just as you said, it is not about you. Unfortunately, what we're seeing today and how we're seeing it, it is bigger and it is older than Hamas. When you look at the Palestinians, predominantly, for example, yesterday there was one protest with predominantly Christian Palestinians. It is much more than what we are seeing today. The right of return, the fact that, it was actually quite interesting. You have some Zionists here telling the pro-Palestinian protesters, go back home. And their response is, we want to. So come join our protest so that we can have the right to return, end the siege. Whatever you do, and you just said, you have, at one point you get so oppressed, you have to fight back. You just said that. So what ends up happening, and you have to understand that, as everyone, and Piers, on your show, so many people have said the same thing. You are going to keep having more resistance as long as you don't do something about it. And you keep speaking about the hostages. What about those that are being abducted from the West Bank? What about those that are in prison? What about the children that are in prisons? At some point you have to stand up and say that this cycle has to end. And how does it end? By changing your tactic, by putting those that are the perpetrators accountable. And you, sir, are stating that it is not a genocide. It is, even the intent for genocide would label it as a genocide, which we have seen from occupation leaders calling them subhuman, Ben Gavir asking for a nuclear bomb to be dropped at them. And I wish to reiterate, I understand that you have had your personal issues, but like you said, it's not about you. It's a collective movement to end the cycle of violence.
Okay, let me give...
And you need to realize that.
Okay, let me give Mosab a chance to respond. I mean, the suggestion is that you are driven by personal enmity because of your family situation, with your father being one of the founders of Hamas, and you've since renounced that side of your life and that part of your family. What do you say to that charge, that somehow you're driven by that more than anything else?
Right. Well, it is not only personal, it's fundamental. What I did during the Second Palestinian Intifada, I risked my life on a regular basis to save human lives from Hamas' brutal suicide bombing attacks, because Hamas terrorism did not start on October 7. We're talking about waves of suicide bombing attacks that targeted civilians indiscriminately, where Jewish, Christian, Arabs, Muslims were killed during Hamas attacks. So our job was to stop Hamas from blowing up things. Buses, markets, beaches, beach houses, they targeted everywhere. Hamas' strategy of using civilians or targeting civilians is not a new thing. Now, for me to be sentenced to death for saving a human life because there is a belief system that says so, well, I totally reject that. and they want me to cease to exist, this is not a relationship between father and son. And by the way, I don't need your pity.
The gloves came completely off here. You can feel the tension crackling through the screen when Rahma decides to go nuclear with that family comment. It's the kind of low blow that would make most people lose their cool entirely. But watch how Mosab handles it. He doesn't just defend himself. He turns it into a philosophical statement about humanity versus ideology. The way he says, "I don't need your pity," is ice cold, but then immediately pivots to talking about his excellent relationship with his father. It's masterful emotional jujitsu, taking a personal attack and flipping it into moral high ground.
American parents have the right to be concerned when they see masked men on campuses. We don't know who the hell they are. They could be activists and they could be the devil. So parents have the right to say, we don't want masked men with foreign agendas on our campuses, because you don't have a leadership, and tomorrow if the shit hit the fan, who is going to be held accountable for this situation? Who do we go after? Why your protest is not registered according to the American laws? You are just creating chaos, borrowing some victim narrative from the Middle East and trying to Americanize it, trying to globalize it. And what we say, as a person who lived the 1987 Intifada, we don't want Intifada in America, we don't want Intifada in the West, and we most certainly don't want a global Intifada.
Okay, Rahma, before you speak in response to that.
Mosab absolutely unloads here with the kind of passion that makes you lean forward in your chair. He's not just critiquing the protests, he's questioning the entire movement's legitimacy with surgical precision. The way he breaks down the lack of accountability and leadership is brutal but calculated. You can sense Rahma getting ready to explode as he systematically dismantles everything she stands for. The masked men comment hits particularly hard because it plays into parents' worst fears about campus safety.
No, I will answer the question the way I see fit, the way I talk. You are not going to school me as to how to respond, sir. Now, to my point. 7th of October did not happen in a vacuum. Another bigger problem is that you've had lies being regurgitated by officials from the 7th of October. I urge everyone to check www.techforpalestine.com, which gives the truth and the proper research as to what unfolded on the 7th of October.
We don't need to read anything. Hang on, sorry. I'm sorry. Look, you can't revisit.
You do need to read.
Well, hang on.
You keep cutting me off. This is the most bizarre conversation ever.
I'm not cutting you off, Rahma. I'm challenging you, as I will, by the way.
You are cutting me off. Let me, no. You can challenge me once I am done.
As I just said, Hamas broadcast what they were doing to the world. You don't need any report when you have people literally showing you on social media what you're doing and boasting about it.
It is very, you know something that I've realized through these debates is that it doesn't end up being a debate. It ends up being that I'm trying to convince you that Palestinian life is worth it.
But I agree.
Is as important.
You don't have to convince me at all.
It is quite
I completely agree.
That is, I don't...
Why are you trying to convince me that Palestinian lives matter?
I'm not... I don't even have a response to this. This is a very low conversation, sir.
You said you're trying to convince me that Palestinian lives are worth it. I said, of course they're worth it.
I'm not trying to convince you what... But you're not acting like it is. If you saw that, you wouldn't be bringing me back to the 7th of October.
But that's what started this whole war.
About the 40,000 Palestinians who've been killed.
But October the 7th started this whole war.
Really?
Yes. It did.
That's not, again, this is thank you for pointing out the exact issue that we have here. When you bring it to the point of that this started from the 7th of October, that is the problem.
This war started October 7th.
The facade of civilized debate completely crumbles here, and we see raw emotion take over. Rahma's voice changes entirely when she says, "You are not going to school me." There's real anger bubbling up. Meanwhile, Piers is practically pleading to keep things on track, but you can tell he's losing control of his own show. The back and forth interruptions create this chaotic energy that's uncomfortable, but absolutely riveting to watch. It's like watching a verbal car crash in slow motion.
Instead of saying we were defeated and Israel won, now they played the victim card. They have been playing the victim card for 70 years. And instead of accepting what is on the table to coexist with Israel, basically Israel was willing to withdraw from the West Bank and Gaza. That offer was on the table in 2000. And Yasser Arafat rejected that because the revolution has no purpose. The revolution is only for the sake of revolution. Bunch of con artists who only want to gain money and power. This is their game. And they have been using Arab children, Arab and Jewish children.
Was assassinated after the Oslo Accords, or
please let me finish. Please don't interrupt me, please. I did not interrupt you. So now the situation got out of control. The false narrative of a victim became global. It's definitely a bestseller narrative, but it's not a true story. The very basis of it, the very foundation of what's so-called Palestine is not real, because in reality there is no such thing. Now, to build all these false accusations of apartheid, of genocide, of ethnic cleansing, only the Jewish people in the Middle East suffered ethnic cleansing and displacement. Only the Jewish people. The Arabs did not suffer the same consequences of the 1967 war, because Israel did not force them to leave the territory after the war, while Egypt, your country, gave the Jewish people a 24-hour notice to depart Egypt. But the Jewish people did not do the same towards the Arabs. And this is how we have 2 million Arabs in Israel. So all the accusations, they're just baseless. And this is how they have been spreading lies to delegitimize Israel without telling us even what Palestine is. What does it stand for? Is it a nation? What do they want to achieve? This revolution and this global chaos, what's their ultimate goal? I would like to know. And most importantly, who is their leadership? Is it the Palestinian Authority? Is it Hamas? Is it the Islamic Jihad? Is it this new generation of pro-Palestine that they are irrelevant to the suffering of the Arab and Jewish children?
Okay.
Holy, explosive, content. Mosab just denied the existence of an entire people's identity on live television. You can practically hear jaws dropping across the internet when he says, "There is no such thing as Palestine." It's the kind of statement that generates 1,000 angry comments before the video even finishes uploading. The calculated way he delivers it, like he's stating a simple fact rather than dropping a ideological bomb, makes it even more provocative. Rahma's stunned silence speaks volumes about how unexpected and inflammatory that moment was.
Terms, how would you then describe the slaughter of 40,000 people and away from Gaza? I want you to explain to me, how is it that you find it normal and what you expect of a child that is taken and kidnapped from his home, from his family, from the West Bank?
Okay.
Is it normal that you have children being charged with under military law? Is this something you believe is sustainable?
Okay, let me give the final answer to Mosab.
Sure.
Well, are you talking about baby Kfir, whose first birthday was in Hamas captivity? Is this the child you are talking about? Because Israel does not kidnap children.
I'm talking about thousands of children, sir. No, policy. They do, sir.
Even there is no such thing as thousands of children. The entire Palestinian prisoners, they are
no
not
such thing
even
as a child,
in the
it
thousands,
seems, in your eye.
Mostly children. And please, when you say war crimes, you're just repeating like a parrot whatever they told you. There is no war crime. Israel is following the war protocol in Gaza, and I will never take the cover of those soldiers who are risking their their
Sir,
lives
if anything,
on a regular basis.
you are the one that has been
Foot
repeating yourself
soldiers.
as a parent.
Look,
I have
Israel,
silently listened to your rant of
let
a
me help
narrative
you,
that
let me
is
help
being
you.
abducted, and yet
Israel
you keep
could
pointing
have
on Gaza.
carpet
If you want to help
bombed the
me,
Gaza
you are
Strip.
going to discuss what is
But they
happening in the
didn't
West
do that.
Bank.
Instead, they sent.
What about the hospitals that are being bombed? What about the universities? What about the hospitals?
Hamas?
What about the universities? What about what's happening in the West Bank?
digging tunnels and bunkers
Again, you bring
and
it.
command centers
Listen,
under
your
those
vendetta
hospitals.
with Hamas is not a collective issue, sir. Your vendetta with Hamas, whatever it may be, is not a collective issue. Again,
It's not
this
a
is
vendetta
older.
with
This
Hamas.
is bigger than
Hamas
Hamas.
is a criminal.
Is Hamas in the
Dangerous
West
terrorist
Bank?
organization.
The wheels completely come off in these final minutes. When Rahma calls Mosab a parrot, you can see him visibly bristle. It's the first time his composed facade really cracks. The rapid-fire exchange becomes almost incomprehensible as both guests start talking over each other, throwing accusations like verbal grenades. Piers basically gives up trying to moderate and just lets them go at it. The energy is absolutely electric. You can't look away, even though it's becoming increasingly chaotic.